December 11, 2010, a police officer named John Malaya walks his cadaver dog, a German Shepherd named Blue, along a desolate stretch of Ocean Parkway, a narrow ribbon of asphalt that runs along Long Island's barrier islands, separating the Atlantic Ocean from the Great South Bay. It is overcast, cold, the kind of flat, gray Long Island winter day where the beach grass bends sideways and the ocean sounds like static. Malaya and Blue are here for one reason: to find Shannan Gilbert. She is a 24-year-old woman from Jersey City, New Jersey, who vanished 7 months earlier after visiting a client in the gated community of Oak Beach, just a few miles east. Her family has been pleading for answers. The Suffolk County Police have been searching sporadically. Today is another routine sweep. Blue pulls toward the brush on the north side of the Parkway. He alerts. Malaya marks the spot. They continue east. Blue alerts again, and again, and again. 4 times in a quarter-mile stretch, the dog signals the presence of human remains. 4 separate locations, 4 bodies, each wrapped in burlap sacking and concealed in the dense, tangled undergrowth just yards from passing traffic. Thousands of cars drive this road every day for years, perhaps a decade or more. They have been driving past a graveyard and never knowing it. They came looking for one woman, they found 4, and they hadn't even finished searching yet. To understand how this stretch of highway became a burial ground, you have to understand the road itself. Ocean Parkway runs for 15.5 miles along the South Shore Barrier Islands, connecting the resort towns of Jones Beach and Robert Moses State Park. In summer, it's bumper to bumper with beachgoers. In winter, it's desolate, long, flat, and flanked by dense thickets of poison ivy, bayberry, and scrub oak that grow in impenetrable tangles just feet from the asphalt. You could hide something 3 yards off the road and no one would ever see it. The 4 women found that December day would become known as the Gilgo Four: Melissa Barthélemy, 24, a bartender from the Bronx; Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, from Norwich, Connecticut; Megan Waterman, 22, from Scarborough, Maine; Amber Lynn Costello, 27, from North Babylon, Long Island. All 4 had advertised escort services on Craigslist. All 4 had vanished between 2007 and 2010. All 4 had been reported missing. And all 4 had been found within sight of each other, wrapped in burlap, arranged along the parkway like markers on a trail. They were not random victims dumped in a random spot. This was methodical, deliberate. Someone had chosen this stretch of highway. Someone knew it well. Someone had been coming back. If you're the kind of person who pays attention to the details that investigators often miss, stay with me, because the details in this case are everything. Each of these women had a life that extended far beyond the circumstances of her death. Melissa Barthélemy loved to sing. She had moved to New York from Buffalo at 21, working as a bartender in the Bronx while trying to build something for herself. Her younger sister Amanda was 15 when Melissa disappeared in July 2009. After her disappearance, Amanda's phone began ringing. The calls came from a series of Manhattan payphones. The caller was a man. He taunted Amanda. He described what he had done to her sister. He told her she would never be found. The NYPD traced the calls to public phones in Midtown Manhattan, along Madison Avenue, near Penn Station, in the blocks surrounding Times Square. Surveillance cameras near the phones were either broken, poorly angled, or the footage had been recorded over. The caller knew the city well. He knew where the cameras were. He knew when to call and when to hang up. Megan Waterman had traveled from Maine to Long Island in June 2010 to meet a client she had connected with online. She checked into a Holiday Inn Express in Halpouch. She was 22. She never checked out. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, a mother of 2 from Connecticut, had told a friend she was traveling to New York for a job opportunity in July 2007. She took the train from New London. She brought $500 in cash. She was never seen again. Amber Lynn Costello lived in a small house on Montauk Highway in North Babylon. On September 2210, she told her housemates she was going out to meet a client who had arranged to pay her $1,500. She walked out her front door at approximately 10:30 p.m. and vanished. But the discovery along Ocean Parkway did not stop with 4 bodies. In the weeks and months following that initial search in December 2010, investigators expanded their sweep. They brought in more dogs. They brought in the FBI. They brought in ground-penetrating radar, and the brush kept giving up its dead. In March and April 2011, 6 more sets of remains were discovered along the same general corridor. Some were found near Gilgo Beach, others were found further east, near Oak Beach, and along the shoulders of Ocean Parkway toward Tobay Beach. The remains of Jessica Taylor, a 20-year-old from Washington, D.C., were found. Her torso had been discovered 8 years earlier, in 2003, in a wooded area near Manorville, nearly 40 miles away. Now her skull and other remains turned up along the Parkway. The killer had dismembered her, left part of her body in one location and transported the rest to the barrier island. Partial remains of Valerie Mack were also found. She too had been partially discovered near Manorville years earlier. An unidentified woman's remains were found wrapped in plastic. A small set of bones was identified as belonging to a toddler, a girl, approximately 16 to 24 months old, later identified as the daughter of another unidentified victim, a child, buried along a highway, steps from the ocean. By the time investigators finished searching, a routine missing person sweep had uncovered the remains of 10 to 11 individuals, scattered across a 4-mile stretch of public road that hundreds of thousands of people visited every summer. The body count didn't just climb, it erupted. Now let's go back to the woman they were originally searching for, Shannan Gilbert, and the night that ultimately set everything in motion. May 1, 2010, approximately 2 a.m. Shannan Gilbert, 24, arrives at the home of Joseph Brewer in Oak Beach, a small private community on the barrier island. She has been driven there by her driver, Michael Pack, who waits in his SUV outside. Shannan is there for a paid appointment. Something goes wrong inside the house. The details are disputed, but what is not disputed is what happened next. At 4:51 a.m., Shannan calls 911. The call lasts 23 minutes. She is frantic. She tells the dispatcher someone is trying to kill her. She is incoherent at times, screaming at others. She runs from Brewer's house. She bangs on the door of a neighbor, Gustav Coletti, a retired homeowner, at approximately 5 a.m. Coletti later tells investigators she was hysterical, saying, "They're trying to kill me." He tries to calm her. He calls 911 himself. But before police arrive, Shannan runs from his doorstep into the marsh, the vast, dark, tangled wetlands that border Oak Beach to the north. She disappears into the reeds. Michael Pack drives around looking for her. Police arrive, but their response is slow. The gated community delays entry, and the terrain is nearly impassable in the dark. Dawn breaks. Shannan Gilbert is gone. Her body would not be found for 19 months. On December 13, 2011, her remains were discovered in a dense marsh approximately a quarter mile from Coletti's house. The Suffolk County medical examiner ruled her death undetermined, possibly an accidental drowning. Her family rejected that finding. They always will. Shannan Gilbert's disappearance cracked open a case that no one knew existed. Without the search for her, there would have been no cadaver dog on Ocean Parkway, no discovery of the Gilgo Four, no expanded search, no revelation that someone had been using this strip of barrier island as a dumping ground for what may have been the better part of 2 decades. But the investigation that followed was, by many accounts, deeply flawed. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Richard Dormer publicly suggested there might be more than one killer, a theory that many investigators and outside experts disputed. The Suffolk County District Attorney at the time, Thomas Spoda, was later convicted in 2019 on federal charges of obstruction of justice and witness tampering in an entirely separate police corruption case. The institutional credibility of the county's law enforcement apparatus was in question. The case went cold. Not officially. Police maintained it was active, but practically, there were no arrests, no named suspects, and no public breakthroughs for over a decade. Families of the victims gave interviews. Documentaries were produced, podcasts launched. Armchair detectives combed through every available detail. The Long Island serial killer, as the media called him, remained a ghost. The break, when it finally came, was not the result of a dramatic confession or a witness coming forward. It was the result of data. What do you think cracked this case open? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, because the answer says something important about how modern investigations actually work. Investigators working under Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney and a reinvigorated task force went back to the burner phones. Those calls to Melissa Barthelomy's sister Amanda, the taunting calls from Manhattan payphones, had been traced to prepaid cell phones. In the early 2010s, the technology to map those phones' full movement history didn't exist. By the early 2020s, it did. The burner phones told a story. Investigators mapped every ping from the prepaid devices used to contact the victims. They cross-referenced those pings against cell tower locations in Midtown Manhattan and on Long Island. And a pattern emerged, a pattern that pointed with startling precision to one man. The phones activated near a specific office building in Midtown, 457th Avenue between 34th and 35th Streets. They activated near a specific residential address on Long Island, 105 First Avenue, Massapequa Park. And crucially, perhaps the single most damning detail in the entire investigation, the burner phones were only active when the suspect's wife was out of town. Investigators cross-referenced the phone activity with the wife's travel records, her credit card purchases, her electronic toll records. The correlation was near perfect. When she was home, the phones went dark. When she left, they came alive. The suspect was Rex Heuermann, 59 years old, a registered architect who ran a small consulting firm called RH Consultants and Associates out of a cramped office in Midtown Manhattan. A married father of two who lived in a cluttered, unremarkable colonial-style house in Massapequa Park, a middle-class suburb 15 miles east of New York City. He commuted by train. He ate lunch at his desk. He was, by every external measure, invisible. If you've ever been on the Long Island Railroad during rush hour, you may have sat next to this man and never known it. That's not an exaggeration. That is the geometry of this case, the killer hiding in plain sight. In the most ordinary commute in America, to confirm the match, investigators needed DNA. They followed Heuermann. On a Manhattan street, he discarded a pizza crust. They collected it. The DNA on that crust matched DNA recovered from evidence associated with the victims. Separately, a hair found on the burlap used to wrap one of the Gilgo Four was tested using advanced genealogical methods and matched to Heuermann's wife, placing material from his household directly on the murder weapon. If you found this case as gripping as I have, take a second and join the family. I cover cases like this every week, and the support means more than you know. On July 13, 2023, Rex Heuermann was arrested outside his Midtown Manhattan office. He was charged with the murders of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. He was also named as the prime suspect in the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. He pleaded not guilty. When investigators searched his house on First Avenue, they found what prosecutors described as a trove of evidence. Thousands of images depicting extreme violence stored on electronic devices. Internet search histories related to the Gilgo Beach investigation itself. He had been monitoring the case, reading the news coverage, tracking what investigators knew, planning documents, firearms, a vault-like gun safe. His wife, Asa Ellerup, filed for divorce within weeks. His adult children expressed shock. Neighbors on First Avenue told reporters they had always found Heuermann odd but never threatening. A large man, 6'4", who kept strange hours and rarely spoke. The house itself was notorious on the block for its deteriorating condition. Overgrown hedges, peeling paint, an exterior that suggested neglect bordering on abandonment. In January 2024, a grand jury indicted Heuermann on additional charges: the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and charges connected to two more victims, Sandra Costilla and Jessica Taylor. The scope of the case was expanding. Prosecutors suggested more charges could follow. As of today, Rex Heuermann faces multiple murder charges. He has pleaded not guilty to all counts. His trial is pending, but the case is far from closed. Several victims found along Ocean Parkway remain unidentified. A toddler's remains were recovered. Her mother's identity is still unknown. The Manorville connection, two victims whose dismembered remains were split between inland woods and the barrier island, raises the possibility of an even longer killing timeline, stretching back into the late 1990s. Whether Heuermann acted entirely alone, or whether someone helped him transport and conceal 11 sets of remains across multiple locations over 2 decades, remains one of the most unsettling open questions in American criminal history. And then there is Shannan Gilbert, the woman who started it all. The woman whose frantic 911 call sent investigators to Ocean Parkway in the first place. The official finding is that she died of accidental causes, that she ran into the marsh in a state of panic and drowned. Her family has never accepted that conclusion. They believe she was murdered, and whether her death is connected to the same killer who buried the others in burlap, or whether her disappearance was a terrible coincidence that happened to unearth a separate, larger horror, that question has never been answered. They searched for one woman. They found 11, one dog, one stretch of highway. One search that tore open a wound that Long Island is still trying to understand. The victims, Melissa, Maureen, Megan, Amber Lynn, Jessica, Valerie, Sandra, and those who still have no name, deserve to be remembered not for how they were found, but for the fact that someone was finally looking. No scrap of evidence overlooked, no victim's name forgotten, no question left unasked. That is the only thing that matters now.